Good afternoon, I'm Maddie. I'm your Blue Cross Blue Shield Michigan Wellbeing Coordinator, and today we are going to be making a Meatza. So, very simple recipe, and if you're not into the whole meat thing, don't worry. Next week I'm going to make a raw vegan pizza crust recipe, so stay tuned for that. But today we're just going to be making, so if you don't have any crust, you don't want to make a crust, want to make pizza, and want to get tons of good protein in, this is the recipe for you, and it's super easy. So, and you can adjust it to your liking. So right now I just have 1 pound of ground beef, and I took just a baking sheet, so baking sheet, I covered it with parchment paper, and so this 1 pound will cover almost this baking sheet. So if you have a bigger family, you can even use a round pizza baking sheet or a bigger baking sheet than this one. So I think this is like a little, it's bigger than a 13 by 9, so just a little bigger than that. So that's why I'm going to put the crust, the Meatza crust on there. And then I'm going to let you, after I'm going to kind of explain how to make it, but then the toppings are all going to be up to you. Whatever you want to put on it. We tend to put a ton of vegetables. Our sauce will range from a tomato sauce or a creamy sauce. And then we'll just sprinkle it with some either goat cheese. I can't really have like cow's milk dairy. So sometimes we'll cut the pizza in half, and my fiance will put his cheese, whatever he wants, on that one side, and I'll put my goat cheese, or I'll just do a ton of vegetables, no cheese on top of it, and then just put like a drizzle of some type of sauce over the top. So whether it's an aioli or just like more of a creamy sauce that we make, I'll just drizzle that over the top, and there's my cheese. You can also use nutritional yeast as well for that. So whatever you want, have fun with it. This is just going to be the crust that I'm going to make today, and then I'll make next week as a follow-up, I'll make a meatless crust. That's going to be more raw vegan crust. So I have 1 pound of ground beef. You can add to it to make it a bigger pizza or make multiple pizzas, but I'm just going to do 1 pound for now. So it's 1 pound of grass-fed beef. You can use whatever beef that you choose. Doesn't have to be grass-fed. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon of salt in there. Or not a tablespoon, a teaspoon of salt. Okay, perfect. So that's all in there. And then I'm going to add a couple turns of pepper. So about a half teaspoon or so, just a couple turns of pepper, or shakes. Like shakes, sorry, I had something in my eye. And now I have my oregano that I'm just going to sprinkle on. I'll put about a tablespoon of oregano in there. You can put fresh. I have some thyme that I'm going to put in here that I have dried from our garden. So I'm going to put that in there. Just really scrub it, crinkle it up so that the flavor comes out, the aroma. Awesome. You can always save a little extra for your sauce. And then I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. I really want the Italian flavor to come out. That's about a half of a teaspoon. So I'm going to get my hands in there dirty, and I'm going to mix it all up. Really getting, but I don't want to mix it too much. It's just incorporating all the seasoning into the meat mixture, kind of like you do with like meatballs. You just mix it together. Okay, perfect. So now that that's all mixed together, very simple, I'm going to put it on this pan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press it out, kind of like what you would do with pizza dough, and I'm really going to make it a thin crust. So if you want a thicker crust, you might want to not spread it out as thin, but I'm just going to work it and really try to get it as thin as possible for this meat crust. If you don't like touching meat, you can always use like a rolling pin as well, or put some gloves on. So I'm just going to really get it nice and thin, press down. You can use your palm to kind of press it out, rolling it out. you see like a bald spot, I always take it and I move the meat around just to kind of cover up that bald spot. Or if you notice a spot is thicker, I'm just really going to get it to the edges, or try to get it as much as I can. Pinching the edges up a little bit or pressing them up. Then you turn it and go this way with it. Really just working it. So it's almost kind of like a meatloaf, but you're making it into a very thin pizza. So now, after I'm done pushing this all out, getting it into that pizza formation, I'm going to put it in the oven at 375 for 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how hot your oven gets. You can always do it for a little bit over. For ours, it's been about 20 to 25 minutes. So that's getting nice and worked out. And then I always take it, so you're going to have a little, maybe a little bit of fat that's run off that you'll see. And I'll just take it and drain it. Like just tilt the pizza and just drain a little bit of it into a bowl or whatever, wherever you put that fat for this. And to kind of keep that run off, and then after it's cooked, I'll put all my toppings on top of it and then cook it for the rest of the time. So then once you put it back in the oven and you cook it, once the meat, this is all cooked after the 20 to 25 minutes, put my toppings on, sauce, all that good stuff, place it back in the oven, and I'll cook it for another like 10 minutes, depending on how melted you want your cheese, how crispy, if you broil it or not. But then that's it, kind of like what I do. So it's just kind of off the feel of how you like your pizza to look. I'm just gonna press this out a little more. These edges, awesome. So it's about square or rectangle-ish. So I'm gonna wash my hands, and then I'm gonna place this in the oven at 375 for 20 to 25 minutes. So this is a really good option if you want to watch your carb intake, to get your good amount of protein in for the day, because usually we really want to try to get our protein in, because that's the thing that's going to help us feel full, and it's going to help us with, like, as we age and our bones just staying nice and strong, our muscles staying strong, and we don't notice that deterioration and feeling weaker. So really making sure you're getting adequate protein in each meal is really important. So and you want to get like always at least aim for 30 grams of protein. That's really going to help, but it's going to vary on each person too, because we're all different human beings. So and just that's going to be a very like good lower carb if you're trying to watch your carbs, or if you just want something healthy meal, and then you'll just put your pizza toppings on top, put it in the oven, and you're all good to go. And then you just cut it normally how you would with like a pizza. So nothing fancy, but I'm going to put this in, and then 20-25 minutes later it will be ready for me to top. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. It will come up, you'll notice when it's cooked if you want to test it with your thermometer, but it will be like how you test it with like a normal pizza, or not pizza patty, but a burger patty. It'll be nice and brown, and then if you want a little more pink, because it's going to cook for another 10 minutes after you put the toppings on. So take that into consideration too. But I just go until it's a little brown, and it's not like too firm, but just firm enough. And but yeah, other than that, I hope you have a good rest of your day. You try this recipe out, let me know how it goes, and be well, take care of yourself, and enjoy your weekend. Thanks.